In three, two, one, you are live.
Hey, hello. Welcome to Arts and Antiques. I am Bridget Ginter, filling in today for Elizabeth Stewart. Today we welcome Alejandra Folguera, Executive Director and co-producer of Nomad Tango. And we also welcome Rodney Gustafson, co-producer of Nomad Tango, as well as the producer at State Street Ballet. Um, we're going to talk a little bit today about their new original production, Tango Meets Classical, Malena, Between Freedom and the Embrace. And this will be debuting at the Lobero Theater this weekend, Saturday, September 6th. This is an original production brought to you by Nomad Tango in collaboration with the Fernanda Guy Dance and as well as the Salah Dance Collective. So welcome, Alejandra and Rodney.
Thank you, Richard, for having us. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about this new production.
Well, this is following an idea that we've been kicking around with Rodney. We Rodney has, the background of classical arts, what I call classical. He probably would be, he comes from ballet, but then he's done anything but classical. He's been breaking a lot of molds. And then I am interested in Argentine tango as an art, as a social dance, as music, as poetry, as many things. And one of the things I like about it is that the artists that participate are of extremely high quality. They're all classically trained, and then beyond that, they study tango. So there's this idea of, for me, that tango needs to be in that kind of scenario, in that kind of stage, the stage where the opera is performed, the ballet is performed, philharmonics play, that's where I want to see the tango. So we started last year with a little test, which was a show, Tango Meets Ballet at the nightclub. And so I know.
At Soho, you said?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. That sounds fun.
It was so much
Yeah.
fun. We wanted to make it bigger. So
Right.
that's where Malena got born.
Okay. Were you always interested in tango as an art form, or how did you kind of find your love of tango?
I love asking people their tango story, their origin story with tango.
Yeah.
I'm actually born and was born in Buenos Aires. I lived tango all my life, as every Argentinian of my age probably. We hated tango growing up. It was a time of rock and roll, and we were, tango was the old stuff, and we didn't care. And eventually we all got old and decided to think again, and tango represents something very deeply Argentinian, something very deep in our psyche. But also, as you know, I live in the States now for 36 years, and I realized that tango represents something universal as well. And so I started revisiting the tango culture, language, expression recently, and then after the pandemic, I found myself in the need to take this role as promoter and organizer, because it was pretty much gone. And I tango is a UNESCO intangible protected asset, and so I feel it's everybody that touches it needs to have a hand in conserving it for whatever is coming next in our world. But tango, yeah, that's my tango origin story.
Right. So for people that maybe don't know a lot about tango, how would you describe tango as a form of art?
Well, its origin is the Rio de la Plata in basically the early 1900s, late 1800s. It was a period of a lot of immigration and into that region. And so you will find a lot of people that were thrown together in extreme poverty conditions, missing their homes and not speaking the same language among themselves. And in dire need of hugs. So they figured out a way to do that. They figured out how to communicate with each other in a very, uh, simple musical language and dance language. Um, and it has evolved and become incredibly sophisticated since then. But in its origin, it has this sort of universal language type of concept. And so it's today that you can travel. I always say you can go. Tango is an improvisational dance. It's a social dance that you dance completely improvised. And so you can travel anywhere. You can go to Russia, to Indonesia, or Hawaii, wherever you go. You look up what milongas are there, where people are dancing tangos. You show up there, and you basically can connect with those people. And all the only one word you need to know is thank you in that language. That's it. And you have basically access to the local private lives of people in that place because you have that language. So it's always been a very universal key.
Right. Well, so this is interesting because, we talk about dance as being such a universal language, and you look at like ballet, which no matter where you go, when you look at classical ballet, um, that you can be in Paris, you can be in St. Petersburg, you can be in New York, and you can see the same variation of, say, Sleeping Beauty. And it can be done a little differently, but there's still these classical moves. So how does the relationship between classical ballet and tango relate? So maybe Rodney can kind of speak
Yeah,
well
yeah,
to.
absolutely. Well, my background as a dancer was with American Ballet Theater in New York City with some of the greatest dancers in the world. And we were doing like 200 shows a year. We actually, just to give you a little background, that we actually stopped between LA and San Francisco on tour one year and did a show at the Arlington. And I walked down State Street and fell in love with Santa Barbara when I was in American Ballet Theater.
Yeah,
I danced in a company in Geneva, Switzerland for a year before I moved back to New York. It's a long time ago, and uh, and then I decided to start my company here. And now I have just passed it on to Megan Phillips and Cecily McDougall, the new directors, after my 30-year tenure. And I had gotten to know Alejandra a bit and got to know a little bit about the tango. And with my background as an artistic and executive director, I got interested in her work. And last year, we had just talked about doing some kind of, I said, I have some time, finally, a little bit of time, creative time. And she said, well, let's do something together at Soho. She had an idea. And I saw the dancers, the tango dancers, and I was used to working with Baryshnikovs and some of the Makarovs, the best in the world. But when I saw the tango dancers, I was absolutely mesmerized. And artistically, suddenly it revitalized my spirit. And I just thought, what a beautiful way to see if I can help Ali with this project. Because I know a lot about production and having a company and all the politics and etc.
right.
And I know a lot about ballet,
Yeah,
and certainly seen everything from Broadway to classical. But I was fascinated. So it was like a whole new lease on my creativity.
right.
And it just happened right when I was passing my thing on to new directors at State Street Ballet, which has been a wonderful company for years. And so that's how I got started with it. And the dancers are surprisingly the soul of the tango just was so intriguing to me. The heart of the art, kind of. It was just kind of had this pulse and this feeling that I had worked in the world of classical ballet primarily. And that's not to say that's not beautiful. It's stunningly beautiful. This was just such a different world for me that it was very engaging. And I got hooked. And working with Alejandra last fall on the project we did, it was so really just spectacular for me. So
So the project at Soho is sort of what was the beginnings then of this show that's going to be on
yeah,
Saturday, correct?
yeah.
So yeah, well, I'm kind of curious, how did that become the next step, and how did you come up with a narrative while also trying to stay true to tango, which is improvisational and
Right,
it's kind of
right. Yeah, with artistic creativity, things kind of evolve organically in a sense. You don't really always think it's what kind of becomes, your mind just kind of embraces new ideas. And at the Soho last year, we did My Bolero, it's maybe 10-minute piece, but
right.
it was really worked well with the tango, opposite the tango. It was in a nightclub setting. So, and it was very successful, great reviews and wonderful. It just felt right. So that's why we talked about what can we do? And so we took this Malena, this new project. Now that involves contemporary dance, Selah dance, with Meredith Ventura, a wonderful, woman that and uh, and these tango dancers. So it's a combination of contemporary and tango dancers, and that evolved from the show we did last year that was super successful and just so engaging artistically and it just hooked me on this tango thing. And I just thought the dancers were stunning, and they are, the dancers. So we have some American dancers, of course, from Selah Dance Collective. They also do projects in New York City and the West Coast, but also that these tango dancers are just phenomenal. So it was just a whole new insight for me and engaging. So I've learned as much about it as I can, including
Right.
trying to learn a little more Spanish. Hablo un poquito. But it's just been such a joy to work with Alejandra because when I came to try to start a company in Santa Barbara after being in American Ballet Theater and then going back to school and getting an MBA and stuff, people thought I was absolutely crazy. 90% of my friends said, you can't go to Santa Barbara. It's too expensive and too close here. You can't. And that was 30 years ago. And the
Right.
company is going strong and has performed all over the world and in great shape, financially and otherwise. So you can't, if you believe in your dreams strong enough, you just can't let people talk you out of them. And that's how I felt last year with Alejandra, because I saw in her what I felt in me. And that
Mhm.
certain special,
So
special
sweet.
drive, you don't
That is
buy that.
that is very sweet. I love
No,
that.
I saw the love. Truly,
Yeah.
that's what's driven me my whole life. I've been an artist. My mom is from Sweden, and I, grew up without a dad. But dance took me to wonderful places all over the world, and I danced with some of the best people. But I was so engaged by this project with Alejandra. I just was enthralled by it. So thank you
Wow,
very much
that's
for
sweet.
talking to us about it.
Yeah. Well, this is really exciting. So, um, can you tell us a little bit more about specifically Malena and who Malena is? And I know I read a little bit of the Independent article, and it was
Yeah,
talking about there's sort of two personas. There's the classical Malena
right.
and the tango Malena. How do they express themselves, and what is sort of the
Yeah,
story?
yeah. Artistically, that's a very interesting combination. We have this young dancer, that's from the West Coast, and then we have the Malena Fernanda, who's a tango dancer. And it's really, do you want to tell them a little bit about how they relate?
Okay.
Yeah, because you're,
This is uh, Rachel Pines is playing Malena
Mhm.
with the Sela company under the direction of Meredith Ventura. And so last year in Soho, we keep going back to that. I'm sorry, but that was a moment. We had in one side all the tango people, and the other side all the ballet people. I mean tables. Okay, in the middle there's a space created by this division. Okay, so this is what we wanted to somehow enmesh. Okay, so the proposal was to bring uh, Meredith, who's very powerful voice, creative, strong, go get it person
Right.
here. And her tango duo, the par, how to say, similar personality. The only problem is that Fernanda lives in the East Coast in Boston. So, so now the tables are really far, really far apart. So basically, they played on this idea that the tango is dancing an embrace, and an embrace limits you, right? And the embrace is a bit what happens to all of us when we live with each other. We have to, we bump into each other's limits, So it's
Right.
about the limits that being with someone imposes on you. And so we put as a contrast to that in the other side of the table, the other table, that idea that in contemporary you dance with your own body, with your own weight, with your own, not exactly free, but yes, in a more on my own terms kind of thing. And so we try to look for that contrast and find a point of balance where you can dance with another person and still feel the freedom, find in and out of the limits and how you balance uh, things so that you can actually be free in an embrace. And it's a very important consideration because really the other people are the people that enable us to complete our dreams, just like Rodney and I are interacting and helping each other to more creation. Our interaction does not limit us. It enables us to do more. So I feel I keep saying is this idea that freedom and embrace or limits and freedom and all those things, love and freedom, essentially, that's what we're saying. Love and freedom constantly is some sort of in opposition. In reality, it's just a semantic thing. In reality, this is a one thing that has two sides which propel us further.
Right.
So that's what we are after in this Malena. It's a lot. In the practice is basically constantly is this in and out of the tango with the contemporary and the contrast, of how we move in a certain way with each other when we are in embrace and when we are not, And so
Right.
expressing that in an art for Malena. Malena is represented by two dancers, so to bring in the two aspects of one character,
Okay.
which meet in a tango kind of thing, dancing.
Was there any parallels with any ballets, Rodney, that that you sort of were inspired by for it?
Well, in American Ballet Theater, I did hundreds of ballets and doing 200 shows a year and touring the world. So I just recall working with Alicia Lanza out of Cuba, and there are a lot of people did ballets that kind of had a Spanish theme, of course.
Right.
There's Don Q is that a good example of a big ballet that's got that name, Sancho Panza and all that. But what in so there was, but what was interesting about American Ballet Theater compared to New York City Ballet, where I trained at Lincoln Center, American Ballet Theater was much more diverse. New York City Ballet was all Balanchine, the guy that founded the company many years ago. But I loved the diversity, and that's what attracted me to this tango thing. And it was sometimes I believe things aren't really coincidental. Like meeting her, Ali, we talked. Her son had taken ballet with us many years ago,
Yes.
So we had a slight, I knew who she was. That was it. And I don't know the exact date we got together, but a bell just went off when we were talking about a project together. And interestingly enough, I was a concept person and developing a company. You got to find a concept, believe in your concept. It's got to be good. So then my bell kind of went off, working with Ali, and it just happened to be when I was done my tenure with State Street Ballet. So it's exciting how these artistic voices can become a reality. Now,
Right.
it doesn't happen for everybody. Everybody wants the dream, and some people, but I've been really pleased in my life that I've been able to follow a dream and make it my career, and I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. So, I mean, it's been wonderful working with Ali and her creativity and her brilliance.
I can feel the mutual respect and excitement that you guys both have for one another. So that's really cool. How did you get paired up with this other dance company and pick the dancers for this show? What's kind of the story behind that?
Uh,
If you want to elaborate a little.
well, Meredith has Sela Dance, and she does a lot of work in New York City as well as the West Coast. And Meredith is really talented, choreographer. And I got to know her at State Street Ballet. She was one of the people they used for choreography. And I just thought she was the right person to do this collaborative. Last year, when we did the project, we thought, how can we take the tango thing where, like Ali said, two sides of there's the tango people, here's the classical people, and
Right.
we found a way to bridge the gap. Um, uh,
And how do you bridge that gap? Because I know like a lot of more classical ballet people are sort of they have I don't know a more of there's definitely more of a rigidity to ballet than the tango,
Absolutely.
which is so about the communication and the fluidity. So how do you bridge that gap between the dancers that are more comfortable in the ballet versus the dancers that are more fluid?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because the way you bridge it is how you build the production. I mean, what I loved about the tango work was how it reached out to me and gave me, because ballet, it's that proscenium stage, and it's that magic happening up there, but it's not connected. With the tango, so much of what Ali has done is community events, teaching tango in the community, and it's a different kind of emotion that's much more reachable for people, and they can have a sense of the magic of it, the way that it works. And that's what really impressed me is the way we can, because I like ways we can reach our audiences, and things are changing. I mean, that's why I loved what we did at Soho because it was so interactive. We had different audiences, and we had that bridge between people who love the arts, and we need it more than anything in this world right now, I can tell you.
Definitely, yes, there needs to be more things that are bringing people together as
Yeah,
opposed to things that are bringing people apart.
I
Well,
know.
yeah. Well, I think we're going to take a short break right now, and then we'll be back in a minute with Alejandra and Rodney talking about their new event coming up at the Libero Theater this Saturday. Tango meets classical, Malena between freedom and the embrace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
3, 2, 1. You're live.
Hello, welcome back to Arts and Antiques. Again, I am Bridget Ginter, filling in for Elizabeth Stewart. We're talking with Alejandra Folguera, the executive director and co-producer of Nomad Tango, and we're also talking with Rodney Gustafson, who co-produced Nomad Tango, and in specifically this new original production, Tango Meets Classical, Malena Between Freedom and the Embrace. And that will be at the Libero this weekend. And on this program, we're also going to listen to a little bit of the music that you will hear in that production. So, welcome back.
Mhm.
We were talking a little bit about the process of picking some of the dancers and how you bridge that gap between ballet and tango. How did you come up with the name Malena and this idea of between freedom and the embrace? Can you talk a little bit about that for our audience?
You want to mention it, Alejandra?
Yeah, yeah.
Know the character well.
Basically, Malena is one of the most beautiful tango series. Is Malena? Everybody in Argentina was just like, oh, when you hear it. Um, the the idea original was to do something else. We were playing with some other ideas, but it was Fernanda Gui that came up with the name Malena, and also this idea of playing with these two sides of freedom and embrace. Um, and then I wanted to add about how we combine it as producers. Um, because Rodney has to constantly hold me here because I go crazy. It's not easy. I think the key is to really, really let them all the creative freedom possible. Just trying to work with the schedules. That's the art sometimes is the art of combining schedules, I say. And I think that that is gonna be seen that, there is two very different personalities. Like if you had to, like when you have two different choreographers, the only thing here is that they are meant to work together. They have to figure this out. They have to figure this out, how you do freedom and at the same time be bound with each other. It's essentially, we keep having to do this in our daily life all the time. And we have to be creative for that. And that's how it works, so 6 o'clock rehearsals and that's how the day goes. We are very excited about it. Everybody's very excited about it, very happy to be intrigued and happy to be participating. Our tango dancers are super high caliber. We have let's see, 3 that come from the East Coast, 2 from New York, 1 from Boston. Fernanda is not only a just legend in tango and a very sought after teacher. Also, she was a champion, a world champion of tango. And in the Mundial, there's a thing happens in Buenos Aires every year, Mundial de Tango. She was a champion. And there's a dancer, Martín Almirón, that comes from New York. He also he was a semi-finalist in the Mundial. This is a very hard thing to do. Couples from all over the world come there, and it's a very, very selective process. And then we have Zoya, which is Zoya Altmark. She comes from, she's actually in New Jersey. No, the other side, she works in New York, but she lives in New Jersey. She is a beautiful dancer. She's Russian. And then we have Silvio Grand, who comes from Italy. He's originally from Argentina, but lives in Padua. So we have assembled a cast from all over the place of most beautiful tango dancers, very accomplished. They know each other, so they communicate really easy with each other. And then the Sela dancers are beautiful, young, very much from here dancers, very much a Santa Barbara phenomenon, right, Rodney? The South Coast phenomenon.
Yeah.
So I imagine this thing of you have this local weed. I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult anybody, but what grows here, the
Right.
kind of thoughts and idea and creativity that is our expression of this place. And then you come with tango and you plant it there, boom. And see how that new environment is created and lives. That's a bit how it's working.
Yeah. Well, that sounds fascinating how you kind of, I don't know, you say it's sort of this international language, and international people from different places all coming together for tango dance, and then this how it meshes with ballet. And I'm sort of wondering, is there a kind of narrative that is followed in the progression of the story, or is it sort of how is it arranged in terms of the acts? Is there anything that the audience should know?
Well, we have essentially what is 3 stages, but it's in a first act, and there's going to be an interval, and then there's going to be the resolution of this. There is a very, it's not a story like this happened and this happened. It's not
Right, yeah.
It's going to be more of an evolution, and it's very abstract, the language, and suggestive. But I know I always get scared with this, but we're going to have a Q&A with the choreographers afterwards. Yes. So the night, again, I am all about the schedule. So you get there at 7. And at 7, we'll have someone playing a bandoneon outside. Bandoneon is an instrument of tango. And so I encourage people to come early, Saturday at 7 to the Lovero. And so we already have that sound going. But the sound of tango is very special. It has a very organ-like instrument that is portable. And then we go directly into the play because I want everybody in the mood to take this in. We'll have a short interval and then a second part, which is the resolution of the Malena accepting both sides into one.
Right.
And then we're gonna give the Sacada Award. It's a Sacada Award is an award that we instituted for special people that have connection with Nomad Tango and that live by the values of truth, beauty, and goodness, I say. Our last year award was to Rodney, who totally embodies this. And Sacada is a moving tango where you move into the space of the other dancer. And it's an illusion. You create the space you're going to move into. So it's for people that create a space where nobody sees a space. And they use it for truth, beauty, and goodness. So we're going to award that to Spencer Barnitz, Spencer the Gardener, who has been involved with Nomad Tango from day one and has always supported us. And then we have a Q&A where Jatila Van Veer is going to conduct this conversation with the two choreographers so we can take what we saw and we feel in the heart down to the head, I say. So that we can elaborate, have a more complete experience of that. And then we're gonna have some social dancing in the tent in the Lobero.
Oh,
So
wow.
yes, because
This is like a complete immersion, huh?
whole trip. It's a whole trip. It's like if you go to the whole, yeah. Because tango has many, as I was saying at the beginning, it has many expressions. It has the poetry, it has the music, it has the dance. The dance has two aspects to it. One is a stage, and the other is the social. And so I feel that, any tanguero that goes anywhere will want to dance. And then we have the Sela dancers too that also will want to dance. So we'll put some music, everybody will dance and celebrate how crazy we all are.
Well, if you don't have any experience with tango, do you feel comfortable for those people that maybe have never danced tango before? How do you begin?
Nobody needs to dance.
Uh-huh.
I mean, people can dance loose. The dancing of tango is a very technical discipline. It takes time to master, and it's like I always say it's a very deep discipline. It's like yoga or tai chi or something you don't. Those things that you can always be exploring for the rest of your life.
Right.
We have classes. There's classes on Tuesdays to learn tango. And there is in my website, there's a way to subscribe to the magazine, and there's an email that I send every week with all the things that happen tango-wise in town, so they can find out ways to learn tango if
Right.
that's what they want. Yes.
And that was part of my question. What other programs or offerings is Nomad Tango currently? If people are saying, I want to learn more about tango, where do they begin other than this show?
But this show is a very good one. We have 3 events a year. We have basically what I call 2 concerts and 1 dance show. This is our big dance show. And then we have the next day, actually, a amazing band that comes out. Elizabeth Stewart, which we haven't named, but Elizabeth has followed us from the very beginning. I love her. And she interviewed absolutely every tango person that came by Santa Barbara, including the people that are coming this Sunday, El Cachivache. They're playing in the Masonic Temple. And that's an amazing opportunity to feel the vibe of Buenos Aires, because there's a 6-person band, singer, the whole sound of tango, and people will be dancing or not, whatever they want to. And that's in the Masonic Temple, Sunday the 7th, and they will play around 8. And then we have the classes on Tuesday. We have a practica that's been in town for 10 years, Monday practica in the Carrillo Rec Center. That's probably the best way to start tango. Just show up there and meet the community and see, do I want to be with these people or not? It's a commitment, because tango, it really takes over your life.
Yeah. So Mondays at the Carrillo Rec Center
at 7:00. Monday, Carrillo. Yeah, and that's and it's only $5. We keep the price low because we want, just pay the rent and
okay
and dance with each other. That's the idea. Then we have other things we do, like we do movie nights. I call it, movie nights, I call it. It's where we see movies. There's a lot of movies that have to do with tango that deal with that. But there's also movies that don't have a single tango and they feel like tango. So many times we get together and explore that kind of feeling of the tango in all the possible ways, including movies. We also have lectures, sometimes we do, but those are kind of events that are special. Right now, I'm being pulled in two directions because I have opened a theater in Buenos Aires. And
Oh,
that's very, very far away from here.
yes.
And it's a thing that is a dream of mine to have a place in Buenos Aires where artists can play because live music. I find that the moment in which you are in a live music venue, everybody is coordinated, conscious wise, everybody's in the same place at the same time, in the same conscious mood. And so I find that a very intriguing proposition. And there's a lot of art and artists in Buenos Aires, a lot of music, a culture of that. So I wanted to provide that part of experience to the people in Buenos Aires as my declaration of love for the city of Buenos Aires, and also connect them with here. So
Wow. Well, that is very exciting, and congratulations on that endeavor, because that sounds like it was probably, like you said, a long time in the making, a long time dream.
Mhm.
Um, and I guess we'll wrap up by
It's just
Richard,
a
what are you?
break. It's just a break.
It's just a break. Well, then, okay. Sorry. Okay. Um, you can edit that, right? Okay. We are going to take another quick short break before wrapping up, talking to Alejandra Folguera and Rodney Gustafson, both producers of Nomad Tango and the new show at the Libero, Tango Meets Classical, Malena, Between Freedom and the Embrace.
3, 2, 1, you are live.
Um, Hello, welcome back to Arts and Antiques. I am Bridget Ginter, again filling in for Elizabeth Stewart. We are talking this afternoon with Alejandra Folguera, Executive Director and co-producer of Nomad Tango. And we also have here Rodney Gustafson, the co-producer of Nomad Tango, and as well as he is a producer at State Street Ballet, a company he founded in 1994. We are talking a little bit about the art of tango, and we are going to listen to a little bit of music from the show Tango Meets Classical, Malena, Between Freedom and the Embrace, which will be at the Libero Theater this weekend, Saturday, September 6th. So in kind of wrapping up and talking a little bit more, we have this correct, it's only for one day, right? This Malena, is there a chance that it'll have a follow-up show, or is it just planned for the one performance as of now?
Rodney, you go.
Okay. So I produced shows for many years in Santa Barbara, and my company, State Street Ballet, is, I've stepped down now as the director, but has toured throughout the world. I mean, we've been all over to China, Japan, South America. And I grew up, or I danced in American Ballet Theater, and we performed all over. So it takes a lot of ideas and creativity and magic to bring something to the stage that's really beautiful. And if you find you have something really beautiful, it's a waste not to be able to take it elsewhere. So I'm always on Ali saying, because we work with Marina Viagini. She's a Russian woman who's worked with me for almost 30 years doing the lighting, and she's a ballet person. But I just feel like it's really important that we think globally, because she has connections in Spain, for instance. She knows people, and not so much Russia. Russia's kind of got a bad, strange name lately, but and then also in South America, something like this could potentially be done at a La Carbonera in South America,
Absolutely, absolutely. Hmm.
And that's the thing that I feel. It depends how things go. How are the reviews? How does it look? How does the audience feel? You never know. It's like creating a movie. You don't know how it's going to turn out. You try your best. But I certainly have my sights on going, it's not just a one show deal for me. I'm like, let's create something that's stunning, beautiful, creative, spontaneous, new, fresh, and then it will it'll create its own life. Something evolves out of that. And this is kind of a unique idea where we've taken real serious tango and ballet and contemporary dance and melded them. It's not, and I've done a lot of ballet in my time and been, all about Broadway and everything, but it's a unique idea that could have some potential life. So, and that's my dream is like, let's not just do one show, let's create something that can be done. And of course, we will film it as well. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
See, that's why he has the Sacada award because he sees spaces.
Right.
See, he sees the spaces. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Another question, how did was it either one of you or did you work with someone else on how you figured out how you wanted to present the costumes, for instance, as you're kind of working with both ballet and tango? How did you come up with the look or what look you were going for?
Well, Meredith kind of worked with Fernanda Gui and they talked about the costumes. They're not, Meredith worked on the costumes for the contemporary elements, and Fernanda, I think, really was in charge of the other. And they collaborate, and we kind of oversee that collaboration because that's always tricky. How do you
Yeah.
costume it? What's that? Uh, and it's a funny. It's interesting. I'm kind of really colorblind, so I try to stay out of creating the scenery or the costumes because
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Denise, the woman I live with, she's always like, "You don't know what color that is." I'm like, not really. The blues and the purples and I get confused, so I kind of stay out of costuming. Uh, but it's a blend. What the most important thing to me is that we've created a unity among artists, and Ali and I kind of have to be the big brother, big sister to that unity because Meredith's an extremely brilliant woman, as is Fernando. We were working with two really, and Marina. That's what I wanted to do, that I could try to bring to the table for Ali. There's things that I know about production from all my years in the business. And I just loved her idea and I loved her energy. And it's just that creativity is what just turns me on. I just really love it. I look back on my life and think how meaningful it's been to me to be able to have a career in the arts and develop things that thousands of people all over the world end up caring about and loving and making them. And we certainly need that.
Yeah.
Really,
Definitely.
not to be
Well, it kind
political.
of a different question, but I always like to ask people questions like this. It's kind of open-ended, but was there any one work of art or dance performance that growing up or you saw and it made you be like, I want to be in the dance world? But for both of you, for Rodney and for Alejandra.
Well, for me, I was
Is there any
actually
a moment?
okay. I was I was in track and gymnastics, and I got pulled into a ballet studio because they needed a guy when I was in high school.
Uh-huh.
And within 6 months, I was at San Francisco Ballet School. That following year, I was at School of American Ballet in New York. Then I was in Geneva, and then I was back in New York and got ballet theater. I just happened to have the right thing for ballet, the right body, the right, all that. So anyway, yeah, it was a really quick transition, and my mom was from Sweden, so it was just a wonderful journey for me. And running into Ali was really
Mm.
So you were right place at the right time.
right place at the right time. And
Yeah.
it wasn't because I had a family with money. My mom was an immigrant from Sweden, so but it was very magical for me once I got the bug, and I had to create, and then I was an oboist in the orchestra, so I knew music as well, and I always loved the arts. I don't know why, I just did the arts and science. So But and then I was really
Cool. And
taken on by
Alejandra,
Ali and everything. Her
yeah,
vision is just great because her intellect and the way she sees things, we just kind of meshed.
Yep, we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
we do.
good.
She
Well,
calls
and
me when she's stressed, and I go,
Oh my God, so many
breathe,
times.
breathing.
Meltdown
yeah,
time.
Yeah.
No, I have I had this, I always loved to dance. I never danced. And then at some point I was watching some stage dancers dance tango, and I'm like, whoa, what happened here? I mean, when did this dance become so refined? It was like this actually has feelings, it's not just pyrotechnics. And so that's when I started thinking that the tango for stage had been misused. Um, I've seen in Buenos Aires things using tango for stage, but not and shows, but not that much art trying to be creative with that language. And so it was completely the wrong place. I mean, it was in an exhibition in a festival, nothing particularly, glamorous about it, but it was a moment where I said, okay, this has grown, this art form, and now it needs a different stage.
yeah. Well, I want to thank you both so much for being here on the program. It's been a real pleasure getting to hear more about this new production. And again, it's called Tango Meets Classical, Malena, Between Freedom and the Embrace. And it will be at the Libero Theater this weekend, Saturday, September 6th. And Alejandra also mentioned, if there are any beginner tango dancers out there, you're welcome to come to the Cabrillo Rec Center on Mondays at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
7
Yes.
o'clock.
Yes, please come.
All right. Thank you so much, Rodney and
Thank you,
Alejandra. This has
Bridget.
Thank
been
you, Bridget. Thank you.
wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. And hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth. You're probably watching.